Florida was desperate. For years, the state had fought a losing war against one of the most dangerous invasive predators ever seen in America. Burmese pythons had transformed the Everglades from a thriving wilderness into a silent hunting ground. Entire populations of mammals vanished almost overnight. Native predators disappeared, and scientists feared the ecosystem itself was beginning to collapse. Then came the announcement that made the internet explode with laughter. Florida planned to release thousands of snake-killing creatures back into the wild. Headlines mocked the decision. Social media turned it into memes. People joked that Florida had finally lost its mind. After all, how could adding more predators possibly solve a predator problem? But behind the jokes was a truth far more shocking than anyone expected. Because this wasn't some random experiment born from chaos. It was the result of decades of scientific research, ecological collapse, and one terrifying realization. If nature didn't fight back soon, the Everglades might never recover again. And what scientists discovered next changed everything. The story begins long before the world started laughing. Once, the Florida Everglades looked untouchable. Endless wetlands stretched across the horizon like a living ocean of grass. Birds filled the skies. Fish crowded the waterways. Panthers moved silently through forests, while alligators ruled the swamps below. It was one of the richest ecosystems on Earth, supporting thousands of species and providing water, flood protection, and economic value worth billions of dollars every single year. Everything existed in balance. Predators hunted prey. Prey fed the land, and the land sustained life in return. Few people imagined that balance could ever break apart. But nature is fragile in ways humans rarely understand until it is too late. In the late 20th century, exotic pet ownership exploded across America. Giant snakes became symbols of status and fascination. Burmese pythons, native to Southeast Asia, were imported into Florida by the thousands. At first, owners loved them. Baby pythons looked harmless, almost beautiful. Then they grew. Within a few years, many reached lengths of 15 to 20 feet. Feeding them became expensive. Housing them became dangerous. Some owners abandoned them. Others released them directly into the wild, believing the snakes would simply disappear into the swamps. Then disaster struck. In 1992, Hurricane Andrew smashed through South Florida with catastrophic force. Buildings collapsed, neighborhoods flooded, and reptile breeding facilities were destroyed. Among the chaos, countless exotic animals escaped into the Everglades. Most people barely noticed, but the snakes survived, and in the warm, wet wilderness of Florida, they thrived beyond anyone's worst fears. The Everglades turned out to be the perfect home for Burmese pythons. The climate matched the tropical conditions of Southeast Asia almost perfectly. Food was everywhere. Water was endless. Even worse, there were almost no natural predators capable of stopping them. The snakes multiplied rapidly. A single female python can lay dozens of eggs at once, sometimes close to 100. Hidden beneath thick vegetation, the hatchling spread silently through the wetlands before anyone even realized what was happening. By the time scientists understood the scale of the invasion, it was already out of control. The devastation came quietly. Raccoons began disappearing. Rabbits vanished. Possums, foxes, bobcats, and deer populations collapsed in areas where pythons became established. In some regions of the Everglades, researchers recorded mammal declines of over 90%. The swamp itself started falling silent. Animals that once filled the wetlands simply stopped appearing. The ecosystem wasn't dying in one dramatic moment. It was being erased piece by piece. And the worst part was that the pythons were nearly impossible to stop. They blended perfectly into the environment. Their camouflage made them almost invisible among grass, mud, and swamp water. Hunters could walk only feet away from giant snakes without ever seeing them. Meanwhile, the pythons kept growing larger. Some reached over 18 feet long. Others weighed more than 200 pounds. Videos surfaced showing massive battles between pythons and alligators. In some cases, the snakes won. Florida had accidentally created a new apex predator. Officials tried everything. Hunters were recruited to remove snakes from the Everglades. Annual python competitions offered prize money for capturing the most pythons. Wildlife experts developed traps, tracking systems, drones, and heat detection technologies. Some scientists even used radio transmitters inside captured snakes so they could locate breeding females during mating season. For a while, these efforts sounded promising. Thousands of snakes were removed from the wild. But there was one horrifying problem. No matter how many pythons humans removed, more kept appearing. Experts eventually admitted a frightening reality. The python population had likely grown into the hundreds of thousands. Some estimates suggested there could be more. Removing a few thousand snakes barely scratched the surface. The Everglades were becoming enemy territory. And then things got worse. Scientists discovered the pythons had not arrived alone. Hidden inside many of them was an invasive parasite known as the snake lungworm. The parasite spread through the food chain, infecting native snake species across Florida. The damage was horrifying. The parasites invaded lungs, caused severe infections, destroyed tissue, and slowly suffocated native snakes from the inside. Researchers found diseased snakes with severe respiratory damage and open lesions. Some species appeared unable to survive the infections at all. Now Florida wasn't just battling giant invasive predators. It was facing an ecological disease spreading silently through native wildlife. That was the moment panic truly set in. Scientists realized they were fighting two invasions at once. The pythons themselves and the biological chaos following behind them. And that is when the controversial idea emerged. What if the solution wasn't more technology? What if the answer had existed in nature all along? When Florida announced plans to release large numbers of eastern indigo snakes into restored habitats, the reaction was immediate ridicule. The headlines sounded absurd. Florida fighting snakes with more snakes. Officials release snake-killing predators into wild. Only in Florida. People online exploded with jokes. Some compared the idea to old ecological disasters, where humans introduced species that later became invasive themselves. Others feared the released snakes would threaten pets, children, or local communities. Even some conservationists felt nervous about the announcement. To the public, the plan looked reckless. But almost nobody understood the real story behind the eastern indigo snake. Because unlike the invasive pythons, the indigo snake belonged there. Long before Burmese pythons invaded the Everglades, the eastern indigo snake ruled much of the American Southeast. It was the largest native snake in North America, capable of reaching nearly 9 feet long. Its dark scales shimmered blue-black under sunlight, giving it an almost unreal appearance. But despite its size, the indigo was not venomous. In fact, it was one of the most important predators in the southern ecosystem. Indigos hunted rodents, lizards, frogs, birds, and other snakes. They even preyed on venomous species like rattlesnakes. Unlike many predators, they were fearless hunters with powerful immune resistance to venom. They were nature's balance keepers. For thousands of years, the eastern indigo helped regulate ecosystems across the South. But as forests disappeared and habitats were destroyed, their numbers collapsed. Road construction, logging, farming, and urban development wiped out enormous portions of their habitat. Go for tortoise burrows, which indigo snakes relied on for shelter and nesting, also disappeared as tortoise populations declined. By the late 20th century, eastern indigo snakes had nearly vanished from large parts of their historic range, and that disappearance mattered more than people realized. Scientists began wondering whether the loss of native predators had unintentionally opened the door for invasive species to dominate ecosystems. Without natural competition, the python spread almost unchecked. The idea behind the reintroduction program was not to create a new predator problem. It was to rebuild a broken ecological system. For years, conservation groups quietly bred eastern indigo snakes in captivity. Young snakes were raised carefully, monitored for health, and eventually prepared for release into protected habitats. Scientists restored pine forests, protected tortoise burrows, and rebuilt the ecosystems indigos once depended on. This wasn't a reckless experiment. It was one of the most carefully planned wildlife restoration efforts in decades. But the public only saw the headlines. What happened next shocked everyone. At first, progress was slow. Released snakes disappeared into forests and wetlands with little evidence they were surviving. Critics mocked the program even harder, claiming the effort was pointless. Then the trail cameras started capturing images. Healthy indigo snakes were moving through restored habitats. Some were hunting successfully. Others were establishing territories. Wildlife researchers recorded individuals surviving year after year in the wild. Then came the moment nobody expected. Wild-born hatchlings appeared. For the first time in decades, eastern indigo snakes were reproducing naturally in restored areas where they had once disappeared. Scientists confirmed that baby snakes found in the wild had not been released by humans. They had been born there. The ecosystem was beginning to heal itself. And something else extraordinary was happening. Native predators across Florida appeared to be adapting to the python invasion. Researchers documented alligators attacking smaller pythons. Bobcats were observed killing large invasive snakes. Panthers showed signs of preying on python hatchlings. Indigo snakes themselves were seen consuming juvenile pythons in some regions. Nature was fighting back. One event stunned scientists more than any other. A large male python fitted with a GPS tracker suddenly stopped moving. Researchers tracking the signal expected to recover another captured snake. Instead, they found the python dead with signs of a violent attack. Nearby trail cameras revealed the shocking truth. A bobcat had killed it. The discovery became one of the first confirmed cases of a native Florida predator successfully killing an adult Burmese python. It changed scientific thinking completely. For years, many experts believed native wildlife could never adapt quickly enough to challenge the invasive snakes. But the Everglades were showing signs of resistance. Predators were learning. Ecosystems were adjusting. The released indigo snakes became symbols of that recovery. They represented something far bigger than simply killing snakes. They represented the return of balance. And balance, scientists realized, is far more powerful than endless extermination campaigns. Humans alone could never remove every python from Florida. The wetlands were too vast, the snakes too hidden, and reproduction too rapid. But restoring native ecosystems could slowly reduce the python's dominance over time. The strategy was never about wiping out every invasive snake. It was about rebuilding enough ecological resistance that the Everglades could defend themselves again. That is the part the internet missed completely while laughing at Florida. The released creatures were not random weapons. They were missing pieces of an ancient system humans had broken. And for the first time in decades, that system was beginning to reconnect. Today, conservation teams continue releasing eastern indigo snakes into carefully restored habitats across the southeast. Monitoring programs track their survival, breeding success, and ecological impact. The results remain fragile but hopeful. Wild-born indigos continue appearing in areas where the species had vanished for generations. Forest restoration projects are expanding. Gopher tortoise populations are recovering in some regions. Native predator interactions with pythons are increasing. None of this means the python crisis is over. Far from it. Burmese pythons still dominate huge portions of the Everglades. They continue reproducing in large numbers and spreading into new areas. The ecological damage already done may take decades to repair. But scientists now believe something they once feared impossible. Recovery may actually be possible. Not through one miracle solution. Not through endless hunting alone, but through rebuilding the natural systems that once kept ecosystems balanced before humans disrupted them. The irony is almost unbelievable. People mocked Florida for releasing snake-killing creatures into the wild. They treated the plan like another bizarre headline from a state famous for strange stories. Yet behind the laughter was one of the most advanced conservation strategies in modern America. Instead of relying only on machines, traps, or extermination, scientists chose something much harder, restoring nature itself. And nature responded. The real truth that stunned the world wasn't that Florida released thousands of predators. It was that the strategy actually started working. Because after years of silence, parts of the Everglades are beginning to show signs of life again. Predators are adapting. Native species are returning. Ecosystems once thought broken beyond repair are slowly pushing back against invasion. And perhaps the most powerful lesson of all is this. Sometimes the only way to heal nature is to trust nature to heal itself.